So today we will see the important concept, that is rules of functional dependency. Rules of the functional dependency, it is continuation part of the understanding the fundamental part of the functional dependencies. Okay, from the previous class you have any doubt, then you can ask me how to use a functional dependency and what is the sense of the functional dependency. Any student who have any doubt, just please let me know what is mean by the functional dependency.
Sir,
Yes,
can you explain functional dependency in a short way?
yes, of course. In functional dependency, you can understand. Suppose in a relation we have the many attributes, and the functional dependency is saying that if we have the A attribute and we have the B attribute, and suppose we have the C attribute. Now, in a relation, that is a relation R, in relation R, suppose we have the three attributes, those are A, B, and C. The relation which contains the one attribute or more than one attribute doesn't mean. But the point is that any attribute which is functionally depend on the another attribute. So we can say it is a functional dependencies. Now, how you can understand? Suppose A is an attribute which is depend on the B. Okay, so we can say B is an attribute which is depend on the A. Now, how you can say? Practically, you can say, in a really practical, you can say, if we need to determine the age, then what is the attribute? What is the attribute by which we can determine the age? That is the date of birth. So, date of birth is an attribute which is depend on the age is an attribute which is depend on the date of birth attribute. So, I'm putting the date of birth of the student, but if I need to calculate the age, or if I need to just found the age, so age can be calculated by the date of birth. So definitely the value which is coming from the age, that is completely derived from the date of birth attribute. So this is a part. So at the time the attribute is known as the drive attribute, but in the functional dependency is here we can take the many things. In many example, you can say two things which are required to depend on the another attribute. So we have the functional dependency. So the notion is written over here, or we can say we have. Just let me move to the my previous slide. See this one. So phone and imager, this subject of course, are the two different entities, and create is also different entities, and Profis is also different entities. All these are the entities, including name and course. Now you can see the phone is depend on the name, and measure is depend on the name. So what does it mean? The phone and measure are the two attributes which are depend on the name attribute. Okay, suppose name attribute does not have or does not belong to the relation, then what is the sense of putting the phone and measure? So how to identify the whose student having the number, whose student is not having the number, and whose number belong or which number belong to the whose student. Now, whose student have been operated chemistry, physics, or computer science, or other mathematics subjects. So subject can be identified to represent the student name as well. So this is the point. So we can say dependency. So phone and measure are the two different attributes which are dependent on the name. So this is the functional dependency. So in English statement, we can say in general way, when any attribute which is functionally depend on the another attribute, so this concept is known as the function dependency. So functional dependency means functionally dependence. If it is dependent, then there should be some functionality between the both relation, both attributes. This is the point. Now it is clear to all, and if you're reading from the right to left or left to right, so we have the different meaning. We have the same sense but different meaning. It's like A is determinant to B, or B is depend on the A. So depend on the from which direction you are reading. But arrow symbol only move from the left to right. We can't use opposite arrow operator or arrow symbol to represent the function dependency. So you have to use only the one direction based, or that is should be belong to the left to right. That is the function dependency notion. But this part we want to discuss yesterday. Now see, if you remember the previous class concept, yes, we have seen all these concepts in summarized way. It was clear to all, and now it is clear to all. please tell me. It was
Yes, sir.
Yes.
good. So if we're talking about the some rules of the functional dependency, then we have the first rule, that is reflexive. Now, if you remember the mathematically reflexive rule, reflexive, transitory, and augmentation, all these terms are derived from the mathematics subject of mathematics words. So reflexive rules is saying that if X is a set of the attributes, how you can say set of the attributes? Suppose this X is a combination of the two different attributes. Those are, suppose I'm taking example like attribute 1 and attribute 2. So X is basically set of the attribute and Y is a subset of the X. So is in a form of the any attribute. It can have the any attribute or it can have the single attribute. So Y is in, suppose Y is a subset of the X. Then X hold the value of the Y. Of course, X will hold the some value of the Y. So when we're talking about this concept, then we have the reflexive rule. So it will reflect some information. So this is a point we need to keep in mind. Reflexive rules means we're talking about the term that is a set of the attributes. We have the set of the attributes, and from the such attribute, there is one attribute that could be A1 or A2. Suppose A1 or A2 is a attribute which belong to the Y. Okay, and it is a subset of the X. So we can say X will keep the information of the Y. Of course, in a room we have the table and chair. So we know this point. A room can have the number of the chair and number of table, and it will be associated with the table and chairs without any doubt. So room will keep the information of the chair and table as well. Even vice versa will not be possible. So the thing we need to keep in mind, if we have the room information or room table or room class, then chair class, also a chair relation or chair table will contain the information on its identity based the chair ID and chair material and chair size and so on and so. So if some information which is kept by the tier two room or room will keep the information about room relation will keep the information about the chair relation. So we can say X is a, or X means we can say chair is a subset of the room. So this information can be understood by the reflexive rule. So this is the point. Now is it clear to all? Now let me know. And mathematically, in the function dependency, we can represent X determined by, it means there's some information which will be maintained or kept by the X. Yes, tell me the reflexive rule about the reflexive rule. Yes, please tell me any idea now, any doubt you have about the reflexive rule? Yes, please tell me. Do you have?
No, sir.
Okay. If we're talking about the augmentation rule, it is completely same concept we have seen in the mathematician. So when we have the x determined by, it means y is depend on the x. It holds some information and c is in a set of the attributes. So suppose if I'm writing just like this one, AC determinant to DC. Okay, so what does it mean? This is adding attribute which does not change the basic dependency. So adding C it doesn't mean. So it just equal to like the A determinant to B. So same thing we can say if any relation just like we have already seen this is a student ID. Okay, student ID is determinant to student name. Okay, now this is the point we know about this point. If we're making this relation like this one, student ID and age, now we are following the composite concept. Student ID and name is a determinant on the student name and age. So it is just equal to the student ID determinant to the student name. So we are what we are augmenting? We are augmenting a new set of the attribute or new attribute. That is a is. So putting or augmenting additional attribute that is it doesn't mean. So adding or not adding, it doesn't mean. So but this would be also possible, and that is also under that is concept, that is concept of the augmentation rule. We are augmenting something. So here we have an example. The same thing we have over here. Is please tell me over doubt, any doubt over here? It is just like equal to the mathematics we have seen, if you remember the few things. Yes, please tell me.
Yes.
Is any doubt in these two rules, reflexive rule and augmentation rule? Yes, please tell me, any doubt you have? No doubt. Now, let me explain to the transitivity rule. This rule is very simple rule, and we know these are transitive rules in the algebra we have seen. So, in the mathematical, in a Boolean algebra, if you remember the reflexive rule, augmentation rule, transitive rule, and other rules of the Boolean algebra. So, same thing is it is also derived the concept from the transitive rule. So, this is same thing, just like I'm explaining simple way. A determinant to B and B determinant to C, then we can say due to the transitivity, A also determinant to C. This is the point. This is the point you need to keep in mind and nothing else, especially if you remember this point. So transitory rule is saying to us if A determinant to B and B determinant to C, so we can say A determinant to C as well. So this is a transitory rule. Yes, please tell me any doubt over here. I have explained in simple way. Yes, friend, please tell me any doubt you have. Yes, any doubt in these three rules? Just tell me, let me know you have a doubt or no.
सर आर्ग्यूमेंट रूल बताना प्लीज आर्ग्यूमेंटेशन
Which is augmentation.
Yes.
Okay, augmentation is simple. You can say suppose we have a functional dependency. Just I'm taking simple example, then you can understand. The department ID, okay, in a department table. I'm remembering the point. Department ID is determinant on the department name. So department name just like computer science, chemistry, physics. Each and every department has own identity, okay, own ID. So this value, that is this attribute, department name is depend on the department ID. Can we say it is a functional dependency example? Can we say it is a functional dependency example? Yes, please tell me. Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see here on the top side, I'm just writing department ID. Along this department ID, I'm adding the I'm adding the uh, d- any new part which is the part of the department relation. So any attribute I'm adding, augmenting any attribute just like the uh, floor, okay, or we can say the building. Okay, suppose we have the multiple buildings, so we know various buildings are available into the campus. So building number. If I'm adding the building number, so what I'm doing over here right now, I'm using the multiple attribute to determine the functional dependency, and this determinant to okay, I'm just using the down symbol for understanding purpose only. So the combination of the department ID and building number is determinant to the department name and building number. Building number. But keep in mind, if you're adding the building number on the left side, then same attribute must be right side. You can't take the different. You can't take the different attribute. If you take a different attribute, then it is not a part of the augmentation rule. So what I'm augmenting in the this example, you can say I'm just adding the building number. So this example is known as the augmentation rule. So what is the augmentation rule? If I need to solve the functional dependency, then I can add or augment addition extra attribute, but keep in mind if it has some sense. If it having some sense, then we can add both sides. We can't add single side. So definitely it will be augmentation rule. Okay, so this is my point. Yes. Now tell me. Now tell me. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is known as the augmentation rule. And transitory rule, you know about this important concept. We have seen already to the mathematical in the Boolean algebra. We know about this part. If A is depend on the A is determinant to B and B is determinant to C, then of course C determinant to A determinant to C will be. So this is the only simple rule as we know. Now, can I move to the next slide for understanding the more detail about the rules of the functional dependency with an example?
Sir.
Okay. Now, see, rules of the functional dependency you can understand by the example I have taken over here. Now, consider the following table. You can see here, I'm just taking the simple table, and in this table, just let me explain to all about this important part in the relation R. That's the relation R. In this table, we have the five different number of the attributes, and those are recognized by the A, B, C, D, and E. Now, A is an attribute which contains its value. Those are A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. B also is an attribute. It also contains some own value B1, B1. So now we can say these two values are repeating. Now these two values are repeating. This value is not repeating. And C is an attribute. It is also repeating some value. Look, see this one. C1, C1, and C2. Okay, and C3. There is no problem. But again, we have the D1, one. Okay, and D2. Okay, and we have seen D1. So D1 is a value under the attribute is coming three times. Same we can say E. So in the E, we know all these values are the same as it is E1, E1. Okay, so multiple values we have in the form of the duplicacy purpose. So B and C and D are the attribute which are keeping the information in form of the multiple copy way or redundancy way. So we can say this is an attribute. This is a relation which can have, but is an attribute which does not belong to the duplicacy part. Okay, so this is a point we need to keep in mind. We are assuming a relation that is given to the form of the some specific manner that is A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so this is a relation. So the rule of the functional dependence is saying that how we can use this the information to represent your thing and how we can identify the such thing followed by the rule of the functional dependency. If you're talking about the root of the functional dependency, then we must take care about all those important points. Those are the three different rules. Those are the augmentation rule, and next we have the transitive rule, and we have the reflexive rule. Okay. So understanding this point, we need to keep in mind this statement as I written over here into the my notes, into the my handwritten notes. You can see as you look at this table, you have seen. Ask yourself what kind of dependency can be observed among the attributes in the relation R. So this is the most important question for moving ahead into the functional dependency concept. So this is the most important point you need to think. You need to ask yourself. So what do you think right now? Yes, please. If you have any doubt right now, you can tell me, or we can move ahead. Yes, please tell me. The relation is clear to all, everything is clear to all, but you should think about this question. What kind of the dependency we can have? So dependency is an important part. So what kind of dependency we can have? So this is the point we need to take care of. Yes, please tell me. First tell me. Yes, please tell me any doubt you have.
No, sir.
Okay, so in the values of the A are unique. In the values of A are unique. How you can say is unique? Because A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, all the values, all the tuple values which belong to the A attributes are unique. So there is no duplicacy. So it follows from the functional dependency resolution. So B can depend on the A, C can depend on the A, D can depend on the A, and E can depend on the A. It is also possible because A is an attribute which does not belong to the any duplicacy record. So if you are looking for the data, then if you need to determine the first part of the dependency, then you can see that every attribute can depend on the A because A is an attribute which is having the only the unique information. So it also follows that is A determinant to BC. So we are taking the composite attributes. Okay, if we are taking the composite attribute, then we need to take in our mind BC. If you are putting the BC, then it should be the subset of the ABCD part. So of course it is a part of the ABCD. So we can say BC, and these two attribute does not belong to the any uniqueness purpose. So we can say A determinant to B or B, the combination of B and C information can be depend on the A. So A determinant to B is also possible. So we can say like this one. And this can be summarized as A, B, C, D. So this is also possible. So the combination of the or composition of the all the attribute B, C, D, E can be dependent upon on the A because A is just having the unique value. So this can be also done like this one. So from our understanding the this point we can say A is an attribute which is having the uniqueness in the records or rows or tuples or the domains or can set of the value. So of course it would be a primary key. Okay, this is the point. Yes, please. So after the observing the few things, it is found that we found the key attribute that is the A attribute. Yes, please tell me any doubt over here. Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, you have to keep in mind all these points because tomorrow onwards, I will try to share the some exercise and you all have to solve during the class. So please be ready for the exercise on the basis of functional dependencies or other kind of a thing. Okay, please, this is the point. Because today's class, I will cover the important part of that is type of the functional dependencies and with the help of some example. And based on the functional dependencies, basics of functional dependency, I can ask a few questions and that is based on the previous classes. So that's why I'm just covering the important part of the functional dependencies, that is the type of the functional dependencies and rule of the functional dependencies. So here we need to see how to determine the functional dependency in a relation. So we need to check each and every point. So after checking in this example, we found that A is an attribute which is having the primary key. Yes, since the value of E's are always the same, that is all even. So all the values which belong to E is duplicacy. So we can say A is an attribute which is having the same value. So this would be satisfied, there is no problem. So definitely E can be depend on the A and E can also depend on the B and C can also depend on the C and D also can depend on the D because all the values of the E attribute is not unique in duplicacy, same as it is same. So we can say it can have. Suppose I am taking the any tuple of the D and E. So of course, just like this one. No, see this one. If I'm taking the B determinant to E, it means E depend on the B. E depend on the B. So just see this one point. Just let me take this example by a different color, then you can understand. Yes. So combination of the B1 and E1, yes, we can take. So B1 and B1, we have the another record, and E1 and B2. So we are found the new record. So, but in this information, we can found that duplicacy of course will be available. So by using the A attribute, we can provide an uniqueness. If I'm doing like this one, A determinant to E. So all the information which is pulled by the this attribute will be the uniqueness, just like A1, comma E1. Okay, A2, comma E1. So all the information which belong to the all this part will be uniqueness. So definitely A is just having the primary key. So there is no doubt over here. But it is an attribute which is belong to the same kind of the value. But rest of the other attribute like B, C, and D, these three attributes does not repeating again values. It also have the repetitive value, but it does not repeating again value. Okay, b1 and b2 is coming, but b1 and other value is not coming many times. So this is the point we need to take care of the point. Okay, and c is also value c1, c2, c1, c2, and c3 we have. Same thing we have the d1, d2, d2, and d3. So here we have the some points we need to take care of. Okay, now any doubt over here? Please tell me.
Sir, can you conclude what we are doing exactly?
Since in this point, what we are doing, this is a point, a good point you have asked over here. In this point, we need to check which attribute depend on the another attribute. So we are just finding the number of the functional dependency which are having by the such a relation, that is this relation. This relation. So this relation are having by the 5 different attributes. Okay. So from these all these 5 different attributes, we need to check what kind of functional dependency we can preserve. So for preserving the actual functional dependency or the number of the functional dependency, we need to check the each and every attribute with the along with its neighbor attribute. So we are finding with the B to C and B to D and so on. So of course, C can also depend on the B. There's no problem. D also depend on the C and C also depend on the D. So it was possible. We are just checking here. So this is the point. Now see, A is only the attribute which is having only the unique record. So every record will depend on the A attribute for making the uniqueness. Okay. So combination of the A and B, we can have the uniqueness of the all the records. By using the A and C, we can have the uniqueness into our tuples record. We can say by making the combination of the A and D, we can make the combination of the all the tuples in the uniqueness way, and there will be no duplicacy. I think you will be agree with this point. If I am taking the only two columns, that is A and D, so all the records which belong to the A and D will be unique. 5 record will be unique. Are you agree this point with me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the point we are just need to check. But we found that B and C, D are the other attributes which are not having the uniqueness. So if I'm taking the composite attribute like combination of the B, C, you can take the B and D, you can take the B and E. So the composition of the or the composite attribute we can say followed by the B and C or also will be or also depend on the B, and by making these 3 different list of the values or the domain values by the B and C and A. So by taking the advantage of the A attributes, all this relation or newly constructed relation will having by the uniqueness into the entire record. So this is the point. So we can say this dependency is also possible. So the composite attribute B and C also depend on the A by providing the uniqueness in your tuple. So this is my this point. We were on that. Yes, please tell me. Now this can be summarized all if I'm just taking the composition of the all those attributes which are having by the relation are except to the A. So of course, so A, comma B, comma C, comma D, if I am putting all these attributes in a sequential manner by taking all the value, so we can say all the attributes are having the uniqueness in all the records, so dependency is also dependent. So we can say B, C, D, E are depend on the A. Now I'm taking real example, then you can understand. Student name now is student name. So age of the student is depend on the student name. Can we say age in depend on the student name? Can we say it is also possible? Yeah, of course it is also possible. Age is depend on the other factor like date of birth. Okay, so this is the dependency we can have. Any other attribute which can make the combination like the student name, comma date of birth. Now we are taking the composition of a year. The age is an attribute which is depend on the composition of the SN as student number, student name, and date of birth. But, but for providing the uniqueness, we can say, suppose we have the student ID in our relation as well. So this is an ID and this is having by the key attribute. So every attribute will be depend on the this key attribute. So what we are doing? So we can say every attribute which belong to the non-key attribute. Now let me clear to all this important term. Except to the A attribute over here or SID attribute, this is the key attribute because in this attribute all these attributes belong to the uniqueness. So here this is known as the key attribute. Key attribute. Okay. And the rest of the attributes which are belong to the A, B, and C, D are non-key attribute. Yes, I can say these belong to the non-key attribute. Can I say? Because there is no uniqueness in any attribute. At least one value is repeating, either B or B1 or B2 or C1 or C2 or any other. Yes. So here the combination of all those values, all the set of the values are depend on the A values. So this is the summary part. So after seeing this all this situation, it is found that A is a key attribute which is having by the primary key. So A will be the key attribute. Yes. Now tell me. Now can I say into the our relation student? So we can say student ID is a key attribute. Student name can be matched. Student surname can be matched. Student address can be matched. City can be matched. Even father name also matched. It is also possible. There's no criteria or any other things by which we can't differentiate. The father name student name can't be different. Father name student name can be same. Okay, in the whole world, there's also a possibility. So, so how do you determine your uniqueness into record? So there's a key attribute that should be roll number or student ID. So here we have, like if you are applying somewhere else, so then you will get an important registration number. Okay, so this registration number determine your record when you need to put to login to see your detail. Then that is where you have to put your key attribute. Now in the pocket you have a key attribute part, that is the mobile number. Your name can match your each and every information can match other person as well, like name, age, date of birth, and so on. But what the thing you have, that is mobile number. And the other card of this our India, we can say that is a represent the uniqueness. So your name, your address, your age and everything can be matched, but your biometric detail can't be matched. So how you can differentiate? That is the other card number. So this other card number is what? That is the key attribute. So by which we can represent information. Yes, please tell me. Is it clear to all about this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, shall I move to my next slide? Yes, please tell me. Shall I move to my next class? Yes. So after on this slide, it is found that is an attribute which is not having any different record, different value. It is only belong to the only single record or single values. Okay. So what we just found that this is an attribute which can be depend on the any other attribute. So E can depend on the A, E can depend on the B, and C and D also. So it is also possible. But however, it is found that we cannot generally summarize the above with the A, B, C, D, E. So we can't summarize like this one. After seeing the situation, it is found that the combination of the A, comma B, comma C, comma D. Okay, so this can determinant of E, we can't summarize. We can't summarize why? Because A determinant to B, E, and B determinant to E. So AB is determinant to E. So we can't summarize in simple way. Because what happened? This is not a basically this is not a such attribute which does not belong to the multiple value. It just belong to only a single value. So we can't summarize in simple way. In a simple way, we can't summarize this point. So because in general we have the different dependencies, like E is depend on the A and B is depend on the B also, and the combination of the A and B is also E is depend on the combination of the A and B. So in simple way, in general way, it is not easy to say that the combination of all those values, all the attribute A, B, C, D are determined to E, or E depend on the A, B, C, D. So in general, we can't say like age, date of birth is not depend on the student ID, student name. Okay, there is no specific rule, but there's some parameter we need to find. So yesterday I told you the functional dependency is a concept where you have to use brain, you have to use logic to determine the something in specific manner. So fundamental part is necessary. So I'm taking the simple step to understand all the concept properly. So this was my first point here. Yes, now tell me any doubt over here. Yes, please tell me. Yes, I need the answer from your side. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now shall we move to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay, so just we are moving to the next slide. Now see. So other observation you can see over. Further observation, it is found that the combination of BC are unique, of course, as we can see. Therefore, the BC is just providing uniqueness. So the combination of the BC attribute, so the combination of A and D can be depend on the BC. So student student room number and his name, student room number and his name in hostel may be the key attribute. So this point is known as the composite key attribute. So here we are talking about right now. We are talking about the composite attribute in form of the key attribute. So here it is known as the composite key attribute. It is known as the composite key attribute. So this kind of the dependency is also possible because we are having the right now uniqueness. So combination of PD is also unique. So therefore, this kind of dependency is also possible. ACE are depend on the BD. So this kind of dependency is also possible. Talking about the C value and which is a match. C value matches. So do D value. Okay, if I'm taking the D value, so therefore D is a value. D is an attribute which is depend on the C. So however, D value don't determine C. So one thing it is found that C is determinant to D. So we can say D determinant to C will not be possible. So the thing we can say in some general way, students are depend on the faculty is not depend on students. This is the point. So which direction you are doing your activity, which direction you are performing your task, that is important part. So the student is depend on the faculty, but faculty is not depend on the students. Faculties depend on the course, what the is offering the course. Then students depend on the two important entities again right now is found at course and faculty. So depends on the real situation. We need to find that if we are determining something, the reverse part will not be applicable in simple way. Like over here, I told you C determinant to D, or it means D is an attribute which is depend on the C. The reverse part will not be applicable over here. So this is the point we have written over here. So C does not determine. So C does not determine D, and D does not determine C. So in this case, if there is some condition we failed, then we can say C does not determine D, then D does not determine C. So here the case we need to find, there will be one case, if you're doing the reverse activity, if you're doing the reverse dependency, so it is applicable or not. So here other observation, either here we are talking about the other observation. So in our relation, what kind of the observation we have? According to you, you can take any other relation like C and E, no problem. But C, E will be always depend on the C and D. Why? Because E is just a relation which is E is an attribute which is having only the same value. So thing we need to keep in mind while seeing the result of the C the analysis of part of the value which is maintained by the or which is having by the relation. So this is the other observation. So previous observation, what was the previous the observation? Previous observation was to check whether the dependencies exist or not. If dependencies exist, then here we need to check the other factors. So here we are seeing the other factor is also possible or not. So it is found that the single side or single attribute which is having by the only simple value, only single value, and that is not possible to or not easy to generalize. But if you're checking the other by the other observation, then it is found that depend on the situation, depend on the circumstances. If you are having the an attribute which is determinant to the other another attribute, but the reverse part will not be possible. So this is the point we need to keep in mind. So based on the other observation, based on the factor, what kind of the dependency you need to preserve, and that is known as the functional dependency preservation. So before jumping to the functional dependency preservation, or it is also known as the FD preservation. So before jumping on that part, let us understand all these concepts with an example, and you will be familiar to the all such part. And now, based on the time to time, it can have the multiple types. And how we can say what are the multiple types? Those are the trivial, non-trivial, and multi-valued. So multi-valued, you can say like here the BNC. So we have the multi-valued attributes because we are following the multi-attributes. So all these concepts you can learn with a real example. So I have a real example with the help of the my PPT or slide, then you can understand in very well. Yes, please. So this is the theoretical part I told you. Yes, please. Any doubt you have? Yes, please tell me any doubt.
No, sir.
Okay, so I think it is a good idea to move into the practical. This is the numerical part with the help of the some real example. Then you can understand in simple way. So moving to the my next slide, then you can understand. Just give me 1 second. Let me. Yes, this is the visible to all types of the functional dependency. Please let me know it is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after this point, we will see the concept that is the type of the functional dependency.